Hey y'all, this is the Back Porch Podcast with Big Red
and Pastor Shay.
Let's get to it.
Hey everybody, it's Pastor Shay. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for clicking on this video. This episode is a good one. We get to interview Stanley Craft from Backswamp, North Carolina, and my father, Charles Gwynn, at the same time. They talk about so much cool stuff. They talk about farming back when they were growing up. They talk about, Stanley gets to talk about growing up at Craft's Country Store. And they talk about go-kart racing in the 80s and all kinds of stuff. And we ended up with a great Bible conversation, which is my favorite part of everything that we do, because I'm able to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ to the best of my ability. But during this interview, it starts to sleep. And you can hear it hitting our tin roof. We've done the best that we can to try to kill that noise out. You will be able to hear the conversation, but midways through, you will start hearing some noise in the background. Thank you for being patient with us as we grow in this. Good news is now we got microphones. We had them that night, but we weren't able to get them going. But now we have them, and every episode going forward, we'll have us mic'd up, where you don't hear the background. So if another hailstorm comes through, you won't be able to hear it. All you're going to be able to hear is our conversation. We really believe that we come from one of the best places on earth. And with that being said, there's some amazing people there that has unique stories. And we're really enjoying being able to bring their story to you. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for all the kind words. I know there's been people that pull me to the side and say, hey, I saw that last episode and I really enjoyed it. I had somebody ask me the other day, they were like, out of the 5 that you've done, which one's your favorite? I don't have a favorite. I've been enjoying every one of them. And we're going to enjoy bringing the content that we are bringing to you. We're going to enjoy bringing it for years to come. And we thank you so much. God bless. Welcome everybody to the Back Porch. We got a pretty cool night tonight. We got 2 guests. Big Red's back from his stomach issues. The GERD doing good?
Hey, it's doing a little bit better.
It's doing a little bit better.
Hopefully we can get rid of it.
We got my daddy here with me, Charles Gwynn, and we got a local farmer, Mr. Stanley Craft.
Good to be here.
Y'all can shake John Mark's hand if y'all want to.
Hey!
Folks, we need to go ahead and just get that out.
Wait a minute, what did you just call him?
We got a nickname with our family. He's Foos, I'm Foos, and John Grayson is Foos. And
Where'd that come from?
Where did that?
You won't know where it originated from.
Please tell me.
I'll tell you where it come from. Back about somewhere around 85 or so. Charles and I and Kendall and all with go-kart racing. And I had I come up with a few health problems along that time, and I was kind of slow to get around. Charles named me Methuselah.
Methuselah.
And Methuselah is short for Methuselah.
Was he slow, Daddy?
He wasn't that slow. I couldn't get him out of a go-kart very good.
Yeah,
that's where that name came from, and it stuck. And I just called him Thoos. He called me Thoos, and you do. Yep. I call you Thoos, and John Grayson.
Yep.
Kyle.
Hey, we were doing that so much at school. Me and John Grayson was John Grayson Stanley's son, if anybody don't know. We were calling each other Thoos so much that they started naming their fox dogs Thoos. And I knew that story right there. I said, I don't think that's a good name to be naming a fox dog. But yeah, look, man, I had 2 funerals this week.
Yeah.
That I did, and one of them was Mr. Doodle's arm, and that was
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what, I weren't able to get there Thursday because I was coming home from Mount Airy, but the funeral was today. They did the wake last night. They talked like that was the biggest crowd they have seen in ever.
Yeah, they said it took hours and hours.
Took hours.
What was it at?
Over there off of Gun Branch Road, the funeral home off of Gun.
It's on Henderson, that Johnson funeral home over there.
Okay. I know.
I believe that's the first time I've ever attended a funeral there. Hey, look, the funeral today was huge. Like they got a sanctuary in there. That sanctuary was full with the family, and then it was coming out around, the people around. But lost a good man there, and this week we lost Philip, Mr. Philip Williams.
Yeah.
It's just been a tough time. But and we'll talk about all that tonight. But please, I want to tell you something that's really cool.
Tell me.
Dad, I don't even think Daddy knows this right here, but one of the best times I can remember is when we started working on that boat barn, putting them sheds on there.
Yeah.
And you and John Grayson and Daddy and myself, we were together for a lot that summer.
Yeah.
And I remember that was a fun time for me because we be able to work on the boat barn, that shed. Then me and John Grayson would go mess with dogs. And I think we ended up going to Camp Clearwater one time during that.
Yeah, I think so, probably.
And lo and behold, we ended up hearing John Mark play the banjo because he was playing.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I believe Sandy was down there. She sang Rodeo Cowboy. I remember hearing her sing Rodeo
I think that was Lauren.
Lauren,
Lauren
yeah, it
was.
was Lauren,
Yeah.
not Sandy. Lauren. It was.
What was that song with Lauren sung? She sung the fire out of
She used to sing Rocky Top, Tennessee.
Rocky Top. She sung Rocky Top that night too.
And is it a Cowboy Sweetheart? That's the name of that
Cowboy
song.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, she loved that. It has yodeling in it.
I said Rodeo Cowboy, but
It's close enough.
you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but that was some of the funnest times that I can look back because we had a lot going on at that time. Me and John Grayson I had a female that was having puppies. And
A dog.
yeah. Female fox dog.
Yeah.
Deer dog. Daddy, we ended up spending money on that dog. Remember big
Yeah, about $800 on that dog.
$800. We had one puppy. The dog had had one puppy. And me and John Grayson sat over there for hours, and I was like, I think she,
That was big money for a small boy. $800 for a dog.
well, folks, Stanley, we won't talk about number one. There's people in this community now that don't know, but you grew up at the most busiest store in Back Swamp.
Oh yeah.
You just grew up there. How was life growing up at the store?
It was good. I didn't, in my earlier days when my daddy and mama ran after my granddad passed away, I despised it. Because I wanted to be doing something else, you know.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'd have to work while they run the town or something. But later on in life, it come around. But now, when I was young, when my granddaddy had it, come home from school, go in there and sweet me a pack of cigarettes, you know. Sweet me a pack of cigarettes and go down there in the woods and smoke cigarettes and get a cigar, a Blue Ribbon or a Lord Clinton or something like that. But yeah, later on in life it was better. I saw the need and, you know.
Well, when you were young and you were growing up over there, who was your favorite person to stop by? I know, like, when I would go over there, it was fun when James Floyd would go. You know, that's what I remember. Who was your favorite guest when you were growing up?
I really don't know.
It was so many of them once now.
There was so many of them. We knew everybody, and I mean, got to meet everybody, and I really don't know that I had a favorite, but when Rosa and I ran it and then closed up, I missed everybody.
Mm.
It was
I miss going there. I tell you.
I mean, you used to see everybody, get to talk to them, and knew what was going on.
Grandpa J.M. would load up in the truck and be like, "You coming with me?" He didn't even tell me he didn't have to tell me where we're going. Well, I knew we were going to Garland's back in the early 90s. And I always get the same thing. Went in there. It was the only place I knew of that sold them full size. It was either Merita or Sunbeam honey buns.
Sunbeam.
Them honey buns. My
Sunbeam.
Yeah.
Sunbeam.
They had that little girl on there.
The best honey bun that's ever been made.
They don't even make them like that.
And they don't make them anymore. I looked for them, but Garland Craft Store had them. And that back then, Gatorade used to be in glass jars.
Yeah.
And
Sure did.
they were there at the store. I had to get the honey bun, that jar of Gatorade. And Grandpa James would buy it for me. That was a good day.
I used to love going over there getting a diet sun drop and a honey bun on them sunbeams. But that's something, since the store ain't been open, I ain't been able to find those sunbeam honey buns, which I don't need them.
I don't think they make
Don't
them.
need
And something else that y'all had, which I would love to know where y'all got these at, is y'all had an ice cream over there that I tell my youngins about, but I can't explain it. That Mickey Mouse ice cream.
Yeah,
They used to have the chocolate ears and the vanilla.
yeah.
Where did y'all get? Because you can't find that kind of stuff.
Ever who came by the store at that time, they changed so many mail and Coble and went right on from whatever. I don't even know the name.
Mayola used to make the best ice cream to me too.
Yeah,
They had good ice cream.
Now, when your granddaddy ran the store, did he still have the oil changing shop back there, or is
No.
that something your daddy had?
No,
Just normal.
Daddy poured a slab back there and did oil changes, put a lift in and done oil changes. And then when I got out of high school, that's what I want to do, mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And I did want the mechanic right on to where they put a computer in there.
Mm-hmm.
And since I knew as much about computers as y'all do, and that stuff,
Yeah.
Probably still be doing it.
I probably went right on with it, but
Well, Stanley, Daddy was telling me that you were what was it, Daddy?
Machinist.
A machinist.
I did work at Southern Auto Parts. I was their first machinist, auto machinist. And I won't say I was the best one, but I was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go to the standard auto parts frequently and talk with Roy Jenkins over there. He'd help me out.
Mhm.
But, yeah. But later on I built the, of course, Daddy helped me build the shop part back there. And I did mechanic in and out, a little bit. Me and Charles put a torque converter in an Aspen. You remember that?
Yep.
Dodge Aspen.
He didn't think it would ever pull again when we started on.
Who was it for?
It was for me.
Oh,
The torque converter was strictly. I was thinking about that the other day. We went up there to. We called him Shack Whaley on Huffmantown Road. His name was Edward Whaley.
Yep, I knew that.
He took it and he went in there like that. And he said, "It's stripped." It was. We put a converter in it and she took off.
But Stanley had his doubts, so he didn't think that torque converter fixed that.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know.
And I didn't really, but a man told me that would fix it. So
Yeah,
that's
What,
what I was
what,
doing.
what was it doing?
It just busted.
it wouldn't move.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't move anymore.
I believe I give $35 for a torque converter.
Stanley, ain't it kind of weird how, like, used to, if y'all's vehicles broke down, y'all would be in the backyard or somewhere
Yeah.
working on it?
Y'all can do that today, can't you?
We can, but
I think we gonna screw it up worse than it was.
the way that mess is made now, it ain't like it was
No, it
then.
ain't. I wouldn't even begin to. Rosa said, "Ain't you gonna stop and help that person by the road right there?" I said, "No, unless they need a tire change or a gas. A gas. That's about all I know how to do now.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
but
don't know how."
yeah, y'all could just back it into a shed or something, work on it all weekend, and be riding back to school the next day.
I hadn't worked on them in evening time to drive to work the next day.
Yeah.
That's the only way I had back to work.
Well, foods, have you looked at this YouTube thing lately? If you need to know how to do something.
Yeah, but I can't ever find what I'm looking for.
I've been lucky. If I have to fix something on the vehicle, I can look it up on YouTube. And I have replaced many a camshaft sensor and stuff like that because of it.
Anything you can think of, if you
It's up there, yeah, most of the time. In fact, Phil Williams, not too long ago, we was talking about, heater core. And he said he was gonna put a heater core in, I forgot what the vehicle was, but he looked it up on YouTube, and the first thing he said to do was remove the steering wheel. And he said that was right there. He went on and, carried it on.
carry it on.
Yep.
Yeah. I think money is just it's more available now than it was. Like just go to a mechanic now because they got it where if you do something you're gonna mess it up.
Yeah.
My wife's car, she's got an Enclave
Mm-hmm.
I went to jump it one morning because the battery was dead, and I popped the hood.
And what happened?
There's no battery in the hood. The battery is underneath the back seat.
Yeah.
That's
I
how-
never thought I'd ever see a
That's how,
time
that's
where.
how that Traverse is in mine.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, you got one?
Oh, yeah, I got one. And if you have to change the alternator out on it, you got to drop the whole daggone engine
Oh,
out. It seems
good
like
Lord.
to do anything to it.
And like
That's
when
where-
a vehicle messes up, and you're like the man of the house, you want to be able to fix that thing.
Yeah.
Like, now I got that hood up, and I'm like, I'll jump this real fast. Don't worry about it. And I felt like a pure dummy. I couldn't even find the battery. I had to YouTube it. I was like, "Where's the battery on this thing?" And there's a place in the back seat where you raise it up, and
Mm-hmm.
it's down there.
It's-
Why do you reckon they want to change, like mess with stuff like that?
I have no idea.
I think they want you to have to take it to one of their dealers. I really do. And I will stand by that.
Well, a lot of their dealers don't even know how to work on it
Well,
sometimes.
I thought that that's the way it would be eventually, but some of these, better mechanics have kept up with stuff and been able to work on
Yeah.
this new stuff.
Now, they do got now my brother-in-law does a little bit of mechanic work. He's got a machine where he can plug it into a
Yeah.
car,
Yeah.
and it'll throw a code and it'll lead him to where
Right.
where it's at.
Yeah.
OB2 reader.
But if you can't read them codes, because it throws up like a 06F3.
Yeah.
I don't know what that, I mean,
Then you got to go to a book and see
You look
what
it up.
that is.
yeah, or Google it or something like that. But, well, do you remember the year that the store, well, I know you don't remember, but what year was the store open? The very first,
To begin with, that one where's there now was 1948.
1948?
It was across the highway before. It, I mean, they didn't move that store over. The old store was across the highway and then he built that store.
Where his house was.
Yes, 1948.
Now, when he got the store across the road, did he tear the stuff that he had across?
Now,
Over now?
are we talking about Mr. Garland or
My granddad.
John.
My granddad, John.
John L?
John N.
John N, that's right.
J.N. Craft.
And I only know it because it was plastered on the window.
Well, I Googled Crafts Country Store before we had this interview,
Yeah.
and they got the picture of the Crafts Country Store on Google.
Yeah.
And it's got J.N.
Craft.
Craft. I
It's
just
still on the window, right?
it's still on the window. Well, do you miss being in that store?
Yeah, I do. And we would not have wanted to, we didn't want to close it, but Rose's health got where she couldn't do it by herself. And with my farming stuff, I just couldn't stay there and keep it going.
Well, I know me and him was talking, or him and I was talking, at one point, that was the pulse of this community. That because 90-something% of the people that live here, they would at least went to that store at least 3 or 4 times a week. That if there was something going on, you could go to the store and find out. If somebody was sick or something, you could go there and somebody would know
Well,
something.
there was always regulars in there. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember. I always seen the faces whenever I was little, but I could.
And there's so many nicknames that came away from that store. You got like foods, you got dump truck, you got.
And Grandpa J.M. was always doing something, and so we couldn't hang around too long.
Yeah.
He'd sit there and say, hey, and he's like, all right, boy, we got to go.
If you got a nickname at Crafts Country Store, it was gonna stick with you forever. Well, I want to talk about your hog houses and your turkey houses and the turkey houses that you had and the chicken houses you got now.
Mhm.
Now you've had your hands in all 3 now.
Yeah,
Which one would you rather do?
chickens.
Me too.
Unpack that a little bit. Why is chickens is
Well,
Wait, before he said it, chickens ain't trying to kill you.
no, they ain't. That's right. Chickens ain't trying to kill.
Them turkeys they're trying to kill you.
I think the hogs, when they first made their debut in the enclosed houses, I think the house I got was built in 91 or 90. I think it was a whole lot better then than it is now, money-wise. But you said which one did I like the best? I like the chickens. One thing, you get them You get them and in 63 days, they're out of here.
Mhm.
You start all over again.
They don't tear your house over, piece of
They don't tear you all to pieces. The turkeys,
Mm.
them 50-pound turkeys tear your feeders up, tear your hands up, your legs up. I remember one time, I was gonna change a feed line motor out. And, you couldn't go in there and sit down on your knees, squat down on your knees and do nothing without having somebody there. And Mr. Love, he said, I'll keep them off of you. And he had a piece of PVC pipe about that long. And he sat there and beat one. When we got the motor put on and got out of that house, that old turkey, his head was bloody all over. They just wouldn't quit.
And still trying to
And
get you.
still trying to go up there. Yeah.
I've worked in some turkey houses and I've worked in some chicken houses. I've never really worked a lot in hog houses, but the thing I know that I like about turkeys better than chickens, the only thing I like is turkeys will walk up a chute. When you get ready to get rid of them chickens, you got to have a crew in there,
Have a crew in there.
and they'll be picking them up and throwing them in the baskets.
Mhm.
I think that's a little bit harder. But why you reckon a chicken won't walk up a chute like a turkey?
I don't know, but they won't hardly get out of your way.
I don't miss. See, we had 4 turkey houses with Matt Johnson, and I miss it that much. Cause you don't know what you're gonna come home to, especially when the houses start getting older. And there was days you'd come home and have to go through the turkey seed, pick up the dead, and there'd be a lake at the back of the house.
Oh, yeah, a pond back there.
Where they had tore one down, the water just pouring out. And then you trying to wade through that, fix waters, and a bunch of little dinosaurs are trying to kill you at the same time. And my gosh. And then we had bad years. I'm sure he's had the bad years whenever it got so hot that they all pile up and kill each other. And that is a rotten mess.
It is, but man.
And if like a fuel truck gets stuck over there beside your turkey house or your chicken house, they'll get nosy.
Yeah.
And they won't go see that.
Go see what's going on.
Yeah.
Loud noises. Well, everything. And y'all might hear this, but the ice is falling on this building right now, so it's causing a racket.
It's getting exciting and it's getting exciting around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, hang in with us after this episode. We got some microphones that we're gonna
I
have
hope
to
it
go
don't
for the
stick.
next
I hope it rolls right on into the ditch.
Also, this episode is brought to you by Hoffman's Grocery on Bachelor Road.
Amen.
Y'all go see him, get you some beanie weenies and some gas.
Yeah. I like how you plugged that in there.
Mm-hmm. Got this turkey hat right here.
Yeah.
Go get you, buy you a hat. Buy it. There's
How has regulations changed since you started with them hog houses? 'Cause I've been talking to a lot of hog farmers, and they said regulations has changed a lot in the last 10 years.
Well, I don't know too much about the regulations. All I do is do what I have to do to keep my license up, my cooking license up. And of course you have to go to school, what do you call it? When you keep on going to education.
What is it, like trade?
Continuing education.
Continuing education, exactly.
There it is.
Continuing education.
Something new every month.
Yeah, I mean, I have to, and you might go down there and sit and listen to just nothing. That's worth absolutely nothing, but you got to do it. And I do what I got to do to keep up my license, and I don't know too much about the regulations. I've got a paper with all that mess on it, but I try to abide by the law. And, I mean, most of us you can hear about it, you know, your neighbor, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Well, I was helping Daryl, and we walked in there one day, and I had not even thought about it. I was just going in there and helping them and everything. And my cousin looked at me and said, "You want to know something creepy about these turkeys?" I said, "What's that?" He said, "Why don't you just look up and look at them?" I looked at him, he said, all the eyes are on you right now. You're in their house. You know, if you're in their house, every single one that's in that house is looking at you the whole time.
And you in trouble.
Yeah.
With one eye. So they're looking at you like that.
Yeah.
And I think I'd be okay. But like, well, after he said that, and I got to thinking about it, and man, you'll start walking. There'll be one or two that is following you the whole time. And I don't really like somebody following up behind me like that. And like every once in a while, you'll feel their beak hit your calf. I don't know. That's just,
I know we got so tired of it, I was like, if there was any way to transition to chickens, I'd do it right now.
well,
We'd still have them houses if there was chickens, I guarantee you.
well, Stanley, we, something else, some people don't know about you is that y'all used to go-kart. Right?
Yeah, we used to go kart. Charles got me interested in that.
Yeah.
You trouble.
Air trouble.
So,
I didn't do much. I did race a time or two, but I wasn't no driver. But Charles got me to help him with the motors once, and that was right down my alley. I like that. But
Especially if it's hot dirt motor.
yeah, hot up when I
He didn't want to stop there, he wanted hot dirt.
I wanted something that was about ready to, you know,
Yes.
hang
About what year was this?
hand grenade right to start with. Let's see.
It was in the 80s.
It was around 85.
It's about the time Seth was born.
Right, at the time I got my name Food, at about 85.
I was born in '84, so was I around?
No, you weren't even thought of it.
Okay.
No,
But the first motor he built, we carried it and won the first race. with it.
right there, it was good. We were using old parts that
Yeah.
people had, you know, moved on to better parts. And that was one of the best camshafts that there was in the deal right there, wasn't it, Charles?
A lot of people didn't think so, but it's a good can.
It was real though. Like y'all didn't even really watch NASCAR or nothing. Y'all were NASCAR when y'all had it.
Oh, yeah, we were the deal.
But
and that's kind of lost. You don't see a lot of go-kart racing around here anymore.
I think Billy Marshman is still in
But
it.
they
ain't they?
built a track at Pinhook.
Uh-huh.
They built a boy, a guy that me and him used to be with out there at the racetrack, David Elston. He's passed on now. His son has built a track. at
But we were in
Pinhook.
flathead motors.
Yeah.
We're not running those now, so he can.
Yeah, and they're running right straight at the ball.
Yeah.
Don't do nothing to them.
So everybody's the same,
Mhm.
pretty much.
Pretty much same class. Everybody in the same class. You might be
It's all in handling.
a light class or a heavy class,
Mm.
you know.
I've heard a lot of war stories about the go-kart racing in the '80s. Felt like you were either gonna race or you were gonna fight, one or the other.
Yeah, there was a lot of fights.
Yeah, well, not better.
You do both in one night if you want.
That's a good.
That's it.
Which one was funner?
I didn't really care.
I like to get out and ride after everybody got loose a little bit.
Mm. Well, who would show up with y'all when y'all were go-kart racing? I know Uncle Wade was trying to do a little bit of something. wasn't he?
Yeah, they did.
So y'all, Uncle Wade, Billy
Cat
Marshall, Cat Teachy was there. I didn't know Cat Teachy.
I
was
raced
there.
with Cat for about a year before I started to mess around with Stanley.
Well, was Bird Teachy? Was he?
He
Did he
got
ever
out
get
there
into
for a
it?
while, yeah.
Old bird.
Tommy and Child,
David Elston, who else?
bunch of them Brents.
Larry Walker, yeah, the Brinson,
The Walker boys?
Larry Walker.
Yeah.
You know Larry?
Yeah.
Is he talking about the music?
The Walker brothers.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
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 Walker Brothers.
Yeah.
Did they have some good stuff?
Larry and David.
Larry, well, you know, everybody had about the same, except some people was better at it than others. But didn't this dude come from Winston-Salem every week? Ron Sale,
Yeah.
didn't he come from, all the way from Winston-Salem down here to race it?
A lot of them come from Wilmington too, Stan.
Yeah, they come from Winston.
Were y'all winning anything?
Win no money. We were competitive, but.
No, they had prizes for
Oh,
winning.
yeah, they did have, that was trophy.
I got one of so many trophies, I didn't care if they give me that one or not.
It was fun,
It
though.
was just being out there.
Now, daggone, at the turkey houses, we had a loop right there. So you come off Cedar Fort Road, and look back up there and look back around where the single wide used to be and come right back out. Well, Braxton, my cousin, got a go-kart, and I had a go-kart. And
We talking about backyard,
yeah, that loop, that rock packed loop became Darlington Raceway. And I won many a race. I was Bobby Labonte back then, but
We were out there one night with a limited, and I was running about third place when we had a wreck or something. I told Stanley, let some air out of my front tire. He let about 2 or 3 pounds out, put me right to the front. That's how much handling was involved in.
You might not know this, but like I do chaplain work now.
Yeah.
We had a prayer request just came out just a little while ago. There was a guy that works with us. He was at a go-kart race, and I think it was in Florida. He was at a go-kart race, and one of the go-karts went by and threw something off the go-kart and hit him in the head. And killed him. Yeah. So, well, it was a guy that worked with us. It was his family member that happened.
That was probably a 2-cycle down there.
But he was just spectating at the finish. But and I asked him. I said, "What did it throw up?" They said, "I don't know. It could have been anything." But
Could have been a boat.
yeah. But they're still doing
There
it.
was a lot of friends that I can't even think of all. Gerald, he started coming out there, and Keith Watkins, he come out. They tag along, they want to see what was going on, you know?
That was the hot spot in the 80s.
Yeah. Anybody else around here that we, Kendall, he went out there.
Kendall, yeah.
Kendall, Rodney Whaley, they were out there trying to, we were running a class called Limited Modified. They had a big race out there one night, and Kendall and Rodney's out there qualifying with an open modified, which is a class above what we were. You remember that? And Rodney makes that like he don't know nothing about that.
He knows that.
What are you talking about? Modified. What is a modified? He tell you that right today. I don't know what you're talking about.
He knows. He just didn't own up to it. But he outrun us that night, but it took him about the last 2 laps to get around us.
Well, how about drag racing? Did y'all ever mess with that, or was it just go-karts?
I've drag raced all my life right here. In my head. Charles is the closest thing that I've come to drag racing. He said, "You want to drive one night?" And I said, "No, I don't reckon."
That didn't stay long.
Well,
That taste left my mouth pretty fast.
well, Daddy, y'all were the real street outlaws. Once y'all block off 5 miles
Yeah, you need to talk to him about, I don't know about that now.
We got called at the airport out there for nothing but up out there drag racing.
Huh.
When they first paved it, they had a security guard out there. Bunch of them snuck out there and caught the drag racing out there. Let the man let us go.
He slipped on past that. You better get back on 53. Get back on 53 now.
Well, these have been some bad cars on 53 Island.
But
Well, who had the bad when y'all were coming up? Who had the nicest car that y'all thought was around here?
I always thought Jimmy Mills had the fastest car to me.
Nicest and fastest.
Well, I don't know about the nicest, but there's been a lot of bad Chevrolets out there too.
Mm.
The Stanley's a Chevrolet man, I was a Ford man, but
Y'all made it work.
yeah.
How'd y'all make it work? Because I thought that was like fighting more than anything.
with drag racing, I really don't like it. I look at all of them now.
I couldn't afford, I'm pulling for the man that does it in. I don't care what he drives if I like it.
Yeah. Do you remember when we went to Rockingham together?
I do.
We went. It was you, Daddy, Travis, and me. That we didn't have nobody else. Who was the man that everybody took it home, but the Abu Dhabis beat them? That was the name of their race group.
Alan Nobby. Alan Nobby was the Abu Dhabi crowd you talking about.
That was the pro mod class stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sat
We
there.
went to watch Morton run,
Morton was running, and what did you say his name was?
Abu Dhabi.
That weren't his name.
Elijah Morton.
No, you just called it.
Alan Nobby.
Alan Nobby.
Same man.
That same crowd I'm talking about is the Abu Dhabi crowd you're talking about.
Man, we had a good time. Morton would have won that, but I think every time that they started it, if I can remember correctly, you probably remember better than he was able to stage last. And the last race of the night, they made him stage first, and that's what messed him up.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if he was racing the class Morton was racing any of that.
I think he was.
It was.
I don't think he
I
was,
don't think he was me.
but I can't remember who else was running the pro mod class.
Now we passed by a track when we went to that drag race. There was a round track in there, the Rockingham track.
Yeah.
Now I heard somebody, this might be wrong, but I heard somebody say they opened that back up.
Coming, the trucks are coming there, ain't they?
Yep. Craftsman truck through there.
Craftsman truck coming there this season.
Keep on, you might see NASCAR pour back in there again, maybe.
No, you don't see NASCAR go by there.
You don't think so?
No. There's not enough motels around there for NASCAR.
Well, if they
What's that
decide,
class-
they'll
what's that
build a
class under
motel.
What's that class under NASCAR? Blue Series, what we used to call it.
Yeah.
You might see him go there.
Xfinity, what's the
Yeah, Xfinity.
Xfinity? Is that the,
Yeah.
big ones or the?
That's
That
Bush.
should have been NASCAR.
That's the Bush.
Yeah.
It was
Okay,
Bush,
Okay.
but, I mean, they'll build a hotel.
That
They're
was-
gonna build one in Richlands. I got the paperwork at the office.
It's not busy enough to keep a big one going all year round, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. We gonna get us a Waffle House and a hotel.
We on Richlands now. We're not talking about drag racing no more.
And we don't- I mean,
talking about
It's
Richlands.
important. Coonsfort Road's about to get big.
A Wawa, and I've heard of Sheets are coming.
Well, the Wawa's supposed to be going across from Liberty Christian.
Yeah. How about Sheets? Have you heard about Sheets?
I don't know where that paperwork ain't come to the office, so I don't know. But,
Every ad that pops up on my phone says you're getting a Wawa.
oh, we're getting 4. There's 2 or 3 going to Jacksonville, we're getting one in Richland.
So you said that they're gonna put a Wawa across from Liberty Christian. You reckon they're gonna put a stoplight there?
They're gonna have to do something,
It's
cause
on that corner right across from the Taco Bell.
Yeah.
They
it's
changed it.
bad enough, which the school's building a new road over there, they need to do something. It's-
Yeah, that traffic's bad.
Traffic's
in the morning
bad.
And the afternoon.
Yeah, and your daughter's gotten a wreck there before.
Yeah.
I mean,
Total her business.
yeah,
What were we talking about now? We got off on the Wawa.
dragging logs.
Drag racing is right in. That's how it works over here, dudes. We'll start talking about
I love
something.
it right on. I can't do much about it. If I'd have had money, I would have.
That's what kills everything, the money.
Stanley can tell you about every driver in the 70s and 80s and 90s that was
I
big time about being IPK. He kept up with it.
In 1972, let's see, 73. I graduated in 73. Started out, this was 1971, 72, I think. And then I graduated in 72, 73. 71, 72 year. I went to the drag strip every Saturday night that it was open.
Lim was racing then, wasn't
He did come, yeah, he bowed out of it, but,
he? That was running there.
4. Every Saturday night except 2, and I went to Rockingham both of them with me.
Mhm.
That's how good I loved it.
There's something about the smell out there. I just like. I
Oh,
like the
yeah, I
smell.
smell that rubber, and then you mix with nicer methane.
Methanol,
Oh, man. They hit that. They hit that.
that's a natural high right
You
there.
can be. Oh man, that stuff smells good. Yeah, I went with Daddy a couple times. He had his Mustang out there for a little bit. Who was the guy that drove that car for you, Daddy? We're at Clifton.
Cliff Swinehall.
He's the driver, ain't he?
He's good at mechanic. Anything about racing, he was pretty good at.
Cliff, who?
Swinehall.
Yeah. I remember he could make that thing roll. I don't put Stanley. Tell me, like, now here's the thing. I'm not no drag racer. I do like to watch it. I watch it on TV. I like to go over there and watch it. But I like to see like a grudge race. I don't this racing against the clock thing. It don't strike me. Do you like it when they're racing against the clock?
Depends on who they are, to me. How
Well,
many
I
I think they
I
got,
always like heads up
Yeah.
racing, you know,
but a limit to it.
yeah. There was, heads up, no breakout, which means you can't run too fast or too slow. You run, more or less a run what you run.
Yeah.
And if you didn't bring enough this week, bring some more next week.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what pro mod racing is.
Mhm.
And that's the reason I like it. So,
Now you watch them on TV. Something here's something I learned. You watch them on TV. It don't look like they're getting down that. It don't look like they're getting down that track fast. But when you go to coastal, the Coastal Dragway, they getting it.
They're getting it done pretty good, yeah.
And I didn't ever really pay attention to pro mods a lot till Big T came out with the crow mod. That white card he came out on, and then I started following the pro mods.
On TV?
Yeah, Big T with the Street Outlaws book.
What was that boy from Saudi Arabia we seen up there, Stanley? We called his name on it.
Alan Observation, yeah.
He had about 6 cars one time, too.
Well, now, the guy that he was running his cars, his name was,
Was it from Wallace? Banks?
no, there was
New Banks.
there was a guy that he had was from over that area, across the water, but
He just owned them.
he still races, no, he still races from my gun.
Well, Boots, how about farming? You doing a lot of farming now?
Not a whole lot.
How many acres you reckon you messing with?
We probably got 250 or something like that.
Beans and corn and hay.
Yep, ain't no one doing tobacco anymore.
No, we had that. Yeah, there's some good days though, but there's some bad ones too, where it's going.
I didn't miss it till it got away, it got gone.
I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to have to go back and talk and sucker in 105-degree weather, but I will tell you something. My best memories of my childhood were at the barn with J.M. Horn and Ashley and all of us. The mess we used to get into there.
You
But-
missed old people farm tobacco though, from what I
Yeah.
see. They're the best nature people.
Mhm.
They had to really farm back then.
To me, you know, you go there to a field of about, say you got 8 or 10 acres, which we didn't have to field that big, we might have had 1 with 5 in it, 5 or 6. And there's you and your wife and maybe 1 or 2 more. The top's about that long.
And suckers.
And you start over here and it takes you forever to go down yonder and come back. That got on my mind pretty heavy, but his granddaddy, if he was right by himself, he'd do it 2 days at a time, you know, and it didn't bother him. I mean, it was depressing. You maybe start on one side and look across yonder, you know, you go up yonder, you took a streak about twice as wide as this building right there. But it didn't bother his granddad.
How about cultivating with cubs and a farm on tractor in the back? That was just as boring as there ever been.
But it was a good way to do it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I got a garden over there, and like I started using that farm mower, and I thought I was the man.
Doing something.
And Daddy came over. I got a ditch right there beside my garden, so I try to creep up to that ditch, and then I'll spin around and go back around. Daddy came over there and said, "Let me get on that thing," and he jumped on that, and he'd get to the ditch and he could spin it right around and come back through. I was like, "Daddy, what are you?" I hear you.
Hitting that inside brake.
Yeah. He turned that thing right around. I was like, "I hear you."
He
He's
would go
like,
down and do one road Stanley, turn around and go to the end of the other one and drive it back down. He didn't have to look over the car, look down at it.
but he can spin it around. He thought like, once Daddy's here, he can talk for himself. But that was how they farmed when he first started.
Yeah.
Was with a one road farm mower. How crazy! And I look at that field, and I've heard Daddy talking that field behind my granddaddy Charlie's house.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be how many farm mowers would you have out there making roads?
We had one farm on tractor, make the road, plant it, put it fertilizer.
Mm-hmm.
You had to put fertilizer in hopper and 100-pound bag on the tank, because you're gonna run out of fertilizer before you get
got back.
Yeah.
And then you put a little bit of AIDS on somebody like that, and then they can spin it around in your garden. You'd be like, "How'd you get that good?"
Well, Stanley knows as much about that as I do. He
Daddy,
like that too.
Daddy did most of the one road stuff. He had kind of switched over to 2 when I got big enough to want to do any of that.
Didn't y'all buy a 2-row corn planter from us on there years ago?
Yeah.
I thought you did. Yeah.
There was, Rosa's daddy was telling me about this guy that Hupper Town up there. I don't know what his name was, but his name was Russell Riggs. But he said he would, he had him a stick up there on the tractor.
Mhm.
Going along there, and you know, you're looking down there like that with the one road tractor. wrapped up in here, slam on the brakes, and he'd take that stick and diddle it a little bit.
It was on his own when I ran over it,
Mm-hmm.
unless they made me get out the back and wrap it.
Well, look,
We had to do that.
I had to do about that
And
too.
unwrap it.
I'm not caught up to date, but like, how many rows can somebody make now? 8.
Oh, gosh.
Well,
8 rows at a time. I see them setting out 8 rows at a time. With like 3 of those in the same field. 8 rows.
If you'd have took something like that and like in the day that we're talking about with Daddy and just showed somebody that right there, that would make their world right there, wouldn't it?
They want to feel big enough to sling him around here. though.
no.
But up around Richland, there's some fields up there, they got some pretty tobacco up there. But
Somebody told me that Daddy turned the combine around on that
Bridge
bridge,
Sneaks Fair.
that bridge that goes to Sneaks Ferry.
Yeah.
Said Uncle Wade, how explain that what happened? You were going one way, and Uncle Wade made you turn around at the top of it, didn't he?
We had 4 or 5 fields over there with picking and planting. Wasn't much to it.
That's how I under them, weren't
Yeah. And I thought we were through. And I was ready to go 9 miles.
Go work on a go-kart.
But not necessarily that to leave the beach.
Yeah.
So I was on top of that bridge and he said, we missed the field down there by where's that big, motel is down there? What was the name of it?
I ain't been there in a long time.
St. Regis?
you?
Yeah, the St. Regis Resort.
We had a big field down there I forgot about. And he said, we got to go get it. Then what no cars coming, so I turned right around that bridge and come back down.
Bring it back down.
Weren't even worried. Weren't even nervous. How much room did you have?
Plenty of room.
There ain't quite as much traffic then as there is
No.
now.
I imagine you doing it now.
You probably could catch it where you could do it now.
Imagine Uncle Wade would be out there about to go nuts.
But ain't nobody crazy enough to have a combine down there now.
Yeah.
The thing about Wade was, if I broke down, I had to go picking, I had to go somewhere and get some parts. Wade take a pair of pliers, a hammer,
Duct tape.
hay wire, duct tape, he'd fix it, he'd go and be picking.
Yeah.
Fix it next day.
Yeah.
I've always heard Uncle Wade can fix anything
He
with some
can
duct tape.
Yeah.
He's duct tape king.
At our place, it was a welder. Everything could get welded.
Stanley, you missed that? You missed all the stuff we're talking about?
Oh, yeah, yeah. But
Does it seem like we kind of get more bored as the days go by? Like the younger people ain't even studying none of this stuff we're talking about.
No, they're not.
Well, they don't get them that experience and that work ethic.
There's too much money floating around.
Too many easy jobs floating
Well,
around.
I've always said it. They need at least 1 or 2 good seasons in the tobacco patch.
Exactly.
Or-
It takes you a lot.
I mean,
Or let them pull 6 months in military.
That's what-
That would straighten somebody
That's
out.
what I wish when I was in school, when I graduated, I wish that it would be mandatory. Basic training right out of high school.
It doesn't
Whether
make
you
any
went in the military or not, basic training.
Yep. It would be a subject in high school, I think.
the only thing that was plowed in our head is you have to go to college when you get out. You have to get out. So I was so warped whenever I got out. I was like, I went straight to college and I burned out.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to Nashville and playing music for a living, which was the best thing I did at the time.
Yeah.
But,
All I wanted was my boys to graduate.
well,
Amen.
Cause they run that fine line that they might not, cause
He talking about me.
they was so accurate.
Hey, at the funeral, guess who was at the daddy? Guess what they talked about at the funeral? Today?
you gonna have to tell that story for me.
They started talking to me because there was a lot of people from Richlands. They started talking to me about when I was selling drinks at school.
You likely got expelled for life.
I didn't remember that
For
happening.
doing what? Selling drinks at school. Carrying them to school.
Well,
Cool
here's
as
what happened. In Richlands, we had a concession stand where everybody would go to get a canned drink. And they were 50 cents the year that we got out. And then we went through the summer. And the next year we got there, they had changed a lot. The drinks went to $1 a can.
And it was,
And they took the Pepsi products off the stands and it was just Coca-Cola. And I thought about it. I was like, man, I had a big cooler. I said, I can fill this thing up with some Mountain Dews and some Diet Mountain Dews and fill it up with some ice. And at lunchtime, I can sell these things for 50 cents. And I can make some money.
And you did?
I made a lot of money. Daddy didn't even have to give me no gas money or nothing while I was going to high school at that time. And I had teachers buying them from me.
What's wrong with making money? They got you.
Let me tell you,
You just don't know.
they were
I
not.
like got put in jail over that little episode.
Well, it went for months. I had teachers coming up to like at lunchtime. I wasn't even able to go eat lunch because everybody would come around my cooler and I'd be selling them. And they finally hit me one day and they said, "Come to the office." I went to the office.
A deputy sheriff we know really brought all this on.
I went to the office and Daddy was in there, and that was when Daddy was building houses. I don't even know how they got up with Daddy because he didn't even have a cell phone. So
Yeah.
somewhere or another they got up with Daddy. And when I went to the office, Daddy was in there looking at me. I was like, "Oh, my goose is cooked now." But yeah, they got to talking about that today.
Well, you knew he was doing that, though, didn't you?
Oh, yes. Everybody knows.
What year was that?
I didn't feel like it was that legal, but
I didn't either.
He weren't charging no tax. I know.
I was a
the school
freshman.
wasn't making their money off
I was a
it. This
freshman.
deputy sheriff said.
Yeah, it was a big deal. Hey, and
We ought to come down on the price. Competition.
look, I'm not gonna call no names out because this guy is gone away from here, but he was a really good man. He was selling the drinks at the school for $1, the Coca-Cola products, but he loved Pepsi products. He would be selling the drinks at the school and going to my cooler
And
buying drinks from me. But you
Yeah.
probably know who I'm talking
The
about.
only way I kept him in school was I was good friends with Tim Spencer. You remember him?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure do. Yeah, he was the
And Tim
principal.
called me to the side and said, "We can work this out."
Was he the principal at that time?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Spencer.
He said, "But he's gonna have to quit selling drinks."
Well, no problem.
It was kind of a problem because then I had to start asking Daddy for gas. Kind of got shot in the foot on this thing. Foods, I think I was making about $25 to $30 a day.
That's pretty good money back then, where
There weren't nobody else in high school making $30 a day.
Who are you paying to take the cooler for?
We look, I was first lunch, and I was like, man, we could probably make some more money if I had somebody selling drinks at second lunch. That's where I got caught
Yeah.
because I was handling it by myself at first lunch. I let a dear friend of mine, Ed Cruz, he took second lunch.
Mhm.
And when he brought that cooler out there one day, I started selling drinks. Next thing I know, I was in the office and we were having a come to Jesus meeting. And they told me, "You will not graduate if you keep bringing that cooler to school." So they shut it down.
Yeah, that was easy getting out of there.
You walked that fine line back then, didn't you?
Well, when one of the teachers that was buying them from me, he came up to me after all it went down. He came to my class. He wasn't even my teacher.
Mhm.
He came to the class I was in and said, "Hey, can I talk to Shay?" And I got out of there and he said, "What all happened?" I said, "I didn't tell on nobody." And he was like, "All right."
Well, what we done was, we weren't selling, but I was buying. Jared, see that over my way, they want no firecracker nowhere in the country.
Firecracker king.
And over here, you get firecrackers anywhere you want to.
Over here.
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay.
That was the difference 9 mile back swamp back then. I mean,
And, I get Jared Baxter, he bring them to me as lunch box,
the school.
the school, and I buy them from him. Of course, he wasn't making no money, he just selling.
Yeah.
But somebody got hold of some one day, got to popping them out there, and that,
The end of it.
that I said, Jared, don't bring them in. Don't bring us no more.
What kind of firecrackers? Just the ones that you like to
Yeah.
throw?
Yeah. Tiny ones.
Well, how does the people in Imog get them and the people in Back Swamp
Oh,
do?
there, but Laura had them, Laura sold
He
them.
make a
Okay.
trip to South Carolina every
Okay.
year.
Yeah,
He had them.
I got you. And Hogman was willing, Jerry was willing and dealing the fireworks.
Oh, man, bro.
Second handed.
I give him some money, he bring them.
Yes, sir. Well,
And Jerry probably didn't pop none strong. He
He
probably,
didn't, no, he didn't pop
he
them.
didn't care everything
I
about
tell you
it.
who popped him, it was Jerry Cox.
fine.
And Sam Hudson was over there at the, auto mechanic shop all the time, and he was over there that day. And here he, I saw him coming, I said, man, we've had it now. I mean, and then I wasn't even involved with it. I just didn't want to get caught with firecrackers, because I was in my locker. He come on over there and he said, where'd you get them firecrackers at? Jerry said, I got my mom and daddy. And, he said, have you got any more? He said, no, sir. He said, take that boot off right there, cowboy boot.
Yeah.
Jerry took it off, and when he did, firecrackers wouldn't fall out.
Yeah, it was.
Needless to say, all that ended the firecracker business, yeah.
Well, I got a question. What was your, cause I got one. I had one, but I'm gonna let you, if you have one, I want you to say it. What was your worst day that you can remember at the tobacco barn? If you had one.
What,
Or worst experience at the barn.
My worst was when I got too hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I got sick and I just weren't able to go no more. That was,
If you get that tobacco gum all over you and it gets hot, if it's wet in the morning,
yeah, you
then
get sick.
oh Lord.
But what's yours?
So there, it's not there anymore, but on Cedar Fork Road, when you turn off of 111
Mm-hmm.
and Garner's Field right there, we used to have a bolt barn
Mm-hmm.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how you stack the racks on the side of the barn when you get done every year. Well, it was the first time we were putting in tobacco in that barn for that year. It was probably 2002, 2003. And we had filled the racks on 2 or 3 trailers, and they went out there in Garner's Field right there and started cropping. And me and Ashley and Grandpa J.M., we worked the barn.
Mm-hmm.
And we got down, we got about half of that barn loaded. And we got down to the ground when we were pulling the racks up.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I pulled that last rack up and the earth started erupting underneath that rack. Daggone big black ground bumblebees started pouring out of that ground.
Yeah.
And let me tell you,
Bad time.
they're killers. They don't care. You can't run away from them.
They're not prejudiced or
They're
racist.
going after you. So I went to run around the barn, and here they come after me. And I jumped through Daddy's truck, the window was open, came in after me, eat me up in there. I jumped out of there, and I
bet you were a mess.
I just happened to notice Grandpa J.M. over there. He had the hard bill of his hat standing there like a statue, just popping them as they're coming around. Right there. And I went to the field. I was done. D-U-N. Done. And Uncle Don happened to pull up. And you know how Uncle Don was. He could pray with you and fuss you out at the same time. And he got over there and he's spraying that. What are you doing over there? Get back this farm. I was like, no, I'm done. They had eaten me up and I was done. That was the worst day I had at the barn. There have been other times, but that one.
The black ones got you.
Black brown bumblebees.
Well, didn't nobody want to put no snuff on it, on these stains?
Grandpa J.M.
Out for the side.
He didn't give me an option. He just came over there, took that wad of tobacco out, and he just started smearing all over there. And he's like, "You don't like that? I'll piss on it next."
Not their word, he said that too.
He said it.
I'll take the tobacco soup. I'd rather have that.
Yeah. That's just a memory. There was a lot of good memories out there working tobacco though too.
So they had a backer bailout or something, didn't they? That's the reason we don't do it around here.
Yeah.
They say you make more money by not doing it nowadays, wouldn't you?
Well, the cancer crowd.
Well, it's gone. I mean, the tobacco pound, everybody had a tobacco,
A lot.
Yeah. And if you didn't have enough tin, you would release some. And somebody quit, you know, you would release some pounds from them. And
Didn't you have a government support price too?
there was a government support
Up to a
price.
certain amount.
Yeah. And but when that, yeah, like he said, the news media and everything, tobacco was so bad for everything, you know.
Oh, that was a big bash campaign. It already had started dying in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It was slowly going downhill. By the early 2000s, it was dead. I mean, some of them were hanging around. Grandpa did it until about a year before he passed away. He got out of it.
But they, the government paid people for their allotments, and you just quit.
Yeah.
And you, supposed to take that money and try to do something else with it, and I did, and guess what I did with mine?
What'd you do?
I went over there to, Crandall's selling this turkey house over there on the dead end road.
Mm.
That's what I spent mine on, and it wasn't so awful long. I don't know how long I grew turkeys over there, but it wasn't so awful long before I was over there at Orbis's mowing ditches one day, and my telephone rang, and the serviceman, he said, "Did you do what I asked you to do yesterday?" I said, "I sure did." He said, "Did you do so-and-so?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you do so-and-so?" I said, "I've done everything you told me to do." He said, "Well, if you hadn't done it, I was gonna tell you I wouldn't do it." He said, "No, the turkeys you got right now are the last ones you're gonna get." I said,
Mm-hmm.
That's how we found that money.
Why was that?
They just went after turkey. You know, Nash Johnson was in the chicken business and the turkey business.
Mhm.
And they wanted to get out of turkey business. They were having some trouble, I think.
They were, the first time I had heard about it, they were wanting to cut off the people that were the farthest out.
Yeah, which was us.
And that was us.
Yeah.
And
We
we,
the only ones in Oslo County.
yeah, and we ended up getting out of it and selling out. But now, them turkey houses just, that is a yard for live pig now.
Nice place over there.
Yeah, they do good work.
Vicar owned NASCAR though, Shay, with
Yeah.
much money they put in NASCAR years ago.
Winston was a big supporter.
Yeah, the Winston Cup.
Ask Junior Johnson, he told him they offered him so much money that NASCAR ought to get some of that money because it was more than he could spend.
Mm.
That's what got NASCAR into it.
Well, something I noticed, which I might be wrong on this, but if you go past Lyman, they put a bunch of chicken houses up over there. You know what I'm talking about? Or go past Fountain Town, and there's a bunch of chicken houses over there near Lyman.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped over there because this was at the time when my cousin Randy was still around, Randy Hall, and he was into chickens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "You see all these houses? There was a bunch of houses." He said, "Somebody across the ocean owns these."
Well, that's happening to the hog production too.
40. They got about 40 over there on, turned there, left at the fire department at Fountain Town. They're down there to, well, it's pretty much the dirt road that goes from Cypress Creek out to Fountain Town.
Yeah.
What is it called that road?
I know where you're talking about.
Logging road.
I
mean,
think that's where I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about.
It's down there. And, yeah. And see what they do. They'll run them for 7 years, turn around and sell them to their brother.
Mm-hmm.
They're get out of paying taxes. They
I think that's some junk. I knew there was probably something to it.
Trump. You don't edit this. I want Trump to fix all that.
That won't be edited. They're being kind of hard on Elon Musk right now. The other side, they're trying to say that he's got so many things in his mind that he's going to do. But this dude's a genius. Here's my thing, dude. Stanley, I don't know if you've been following this. I ain't followed it much, and I don't like to talk about politics because I'm not really smart about it. But here's something I know. I know Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. He's got a spaceship. He's trying his hardest to go to Mars. And the other side is like, no, we don't want that to happen. Now, don't you know if Elon Musk would have backed them, they'd have been like, oh, yeah, let's go to Mars. What's the problem? I mean, look, he might find something.
If they want to go to Mars,
Let him go.
Let him go.
I don't want to go. Well, how cool would it be that we were the first ones to get there?
I ain't got that kind of money.
You want to go to
Not even my ticket was bought.
Well,
I don't believe it could stay alive long enough to get to Mars and back.
I don't know. I do know this. It is so hypocritical how this mess goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because if one side is doing it, the other side is just going to automatically hate it because they're doing it.
It wasn't me that done it. I wanted it to be the
Well,
one.
bipartisan's been thrown out. It's this side and this side.
Yeah.
There ain't a lot of the aisle coming together in the aisles anymore.
Well, the one thing that I like is the team that Trump put together this time. He's got Elon Musk, he's got Kennedy. I like Kennedy. And Kennedy's starting to bring a lot of stuff to life. What's that
Health wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. The all the stuff. Because if you look at the European countries and some of them, the stuff that we allow in our food is not allowed over there because it makes you sick.
Now, John Mark, here's the thing that somebody told me. I was like, now, Kennedy's going to get this mess right. We're going to start eating healthier. And they said, well, all right, well, you're not going to have no more bags of chips. And if he
Well,
goes
if you
with...
do have bags of chips, it's going to be taters.
Man,
And that's it.
have you ever ate chips that was just taters? I have.
Yeah. I ain't got a problem with them. They're called kettle cooked. It's just chips.
I kind of like a Frito-Lay every once in a while, don't you please?
Yeah,
That's just like a diet drink. I ain't got no use for a diet drink,
Me,
period.
I don't like
Them
them.
chips y'all talking about, it's got no flavor.
Well,
You talking about the kettle chips?
Yeah.
well, you've heard if it
They'll break your teeth
if
out.
it tastes good to you, it probably ain't good
That's
for
right.
you.
Now,
It probably ain't.
Uncle Hubert told me that before he passed away.
It ain't good
I
for
said,
you.
Uncle Hubert, I'm about to go on a diet. He said, well, then don't eat nothing.
Well, I mean, there's some things that are good for you that we got to get back to. Believe it or not, bacon grease ain't bad for you,
Bacon grease.
but
How about lard biscuits?
I mean,
Hey.
other than flour,
Yeah.
we ain't supposed to eat as much bread as they tell you you're supposed to eat. We ain't supposed to eat as much grain, as much corn as we eat. But like
Corn is my favorite meal.
steak, ground beef, all that's good for you.
Yeah.
Food or
Processed food.
animal-based food is
How about a
good
pork
for
chop?
you.
That's
Yeah.
good for you.
That's right.
Chicken?
Chicken,
Yeah.
all that's good for you. And
Oh.
what you grow in the garden is good for you.
Look, if you got raised when I did, you didn't have to worry about that.
And that's right. You had to eat
You
what
eat
you
what they
had.
had. That's it.
I was in
One of
Florida.
these right here a day is about all you ever got.
Yeah.
I was in Florida about a couple months ago and we stopped at a restaurant and we ordered chicken. They had like chicken breast with rice and everything. And that woman that was serving us came up to me and said, how you want your chicken cooked?
I'd never heard that before.
I ain't neither. I
Other
said,
than fried or baked or
That's
something
well,
like that.
she was talking about like
That's,
well done,
that's
rare.
dangerous.
I
It's
know.
supposed to be cooked.
A turkey tip.
I said,
Yeah,
ma'am,
yeah.
I said, ma'am, you've about made it where I don't want to eat here.
There should not be any meat.
You should not be asking me that question.
That's where salmonella come from. huh?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not cooked enough.
And I've had that mess before about killing. That's that food poisoning.
Stanley, like if you're eating a hamburger, do you like that hamburger to be pink?
What?
A hamburger.
Yeah.
You like it to be pink?
Yeah, I like.
No, not
Hey.
pink.
Well, if it's 100% beef, I don't mind it.
Mm.
But if it ain't, then no. I mean, it depends on where that meat came from on that cow.
Mhm.
Well, John Mark, let me tell you something because here's the cool thing. You and me were kind of raised different, probably. When we'd go to a restaurant, Mom and Daddy would order our food.
Mhm.
We didn't get to like, I want mine medium well. It was done.
I don't know.
If Daddy
Wait a
and Mom,
minute, I don't know what you're talking about because whenever we went out to eat,
Huh.
John Mark didn't get a steak.
yeah.
That weren't. We didn't have that kind of
If
money.
we ever ate anything, Daddy and Mom made sure it was done.
You know what was fun for us? If we got to go eat after church on Sunday. Now it's back when there was only one Mexican restaurant, it was the El Sierra Grande, or we go to the Mai Tai.
Yeah.
That was big eating to me.
Daddy, we would go to that seafood restaurant most of the time if we ever
Or
went.
Fisherman
Yeah.
Wharf.
Well, we would go to the one on 53.
Holland Shelter.
Holland Shelter.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty much where we
But
were
you
going to go.
eat a mini meal at my time too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now Holland Shelter was whenever I know Jamie Lorstein's house was loaded up and go to Holland Shelter. Or if we were big to do, we'd go to the sanitary fish market in Moorhead.
Here was the Gwynn spots that I remember where we would go a lot. We might go to the Golden Crab. We would go to Holland Shelter.
Arnold's.
And we'd go to Arnold's.
I miss Arnold's.
Arnold's was a stop.
Had the best Brunswick stew in there.
They have good
Right.
fried chicken.
Oh,
They
man.
did.
And everybody says that the Piggly Wiggly chicken is just like Arnold's. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's not,
It's
it's
not.
good to me.
It's
but
good.
Not like Arnold. Well,
It's about as close as we gonna get in town.
Yeah.
But I mean, breakfast is good, but I miss Arnold's. And if Al Jones watches this, I know Al Jones misses Arnold's too.
He talks about it
takes-
every
he'll
month.
tell you every day.
Kentucky Fried Chicken ain't changed much.
No,
I don't ever eat there, Dave.
You probably don't, but they still got the best chicken.
I know the one in Was, you can still get
liver.
fried
Liver
chicken
and
livers
gizzards.
and gizzards.
Yep.
And that's good to me.
We were just talking about Moore's on one of these shows with Mark Young. We were like, man, Moore's is the deal.
Mhm.
They are. They had a seafood selection,
That
and,
fish sandwich is good. they
and
got
then
there.
the next
Shrimp
week I
sandwich.
found out they closed Moore's down.
In Jackson, sure did.
Do you think I got thinking about that because Tommy and Timmy were in here when they were talking about that closed down. I got thinking about it. The only reason I think that Moore's shut down is the way you had to go to get in there, because you had to go do a U-turn if you're coming from our way. You'd have to go do a U-turn to get
Yeah,
into
I'm
that
sure they
mall.
missed the little business, but it was
It's
weird.
location, really.
Yeah. But that place is starting to blow up a little bit over there, and they're about to build apartments galore in that hole right there. Hey. Oh,
Well, Stanley, now you over there at your church. You want to say the name of your church?
Bethlehem Original Freewood Baptist.
in Fountain Town.
Fountain.
Fountain Town,
It's always
North
been the Fountain Town Church.
Mhm.
Y'all got a nice building on the back of there. Now
Yeah.
we'd like to talk about that if you don't mind.
All right.
How long did it take y'all to get? Because that is how big do you reckon
That
that
is
is?
a big building.
I don't know how many square feet it is.
How long did it take y'all to get that in motion and start doing it?
After we decided that we could, it took about 2 years to get it going and built. But talked about it for 25, 30 years.
Talked about it. Plan for it, save money.
Yeah.
I swear that's a big building.
Well, we're kind of in the same boat.
Man.
I mean, we're trying to figure out how our churches, as far as churches go, our church is still fairly young, being made in the 70s. I mean, so.
I believe that was started in 1913.
What, Fountain Town?
Yeah, it was originally down by the fire department, go down that road.
Over there by Miss Nancy's?
Yeah. Go down that way.
Yeah, we went there the other day for the night in Bethlehem thing.
And y'all, and Stan, I
That
want to
is
say this.
awesome.
I want to echo that. Y'all do a great job during Christmas. I mean,
Well, a lot of people work on it, but, I didn't do a whole lot on it, be there that night and wear that, thing on my head and,
you a Roman?
I was working in the blacksmith shop.
Blacksmith
Yes,
shop.
that's where he was.
But if it weren't for Bernie Fountain, it wouldn't. He worked endlessly out there on that stuff. And solicited help to help him.
There's people comes from all around to go to that.
Yeah, I think it's become a Christmas go-to spot now.
It is.
For a lot of people.
We did it a couple of years, then we skipped a couple, COVID come on, we
Yeah.
skipped out a couple of years, and then we done it the last 2 years. And I don't know if we'll do it this year or not. They had a meeting the other night, so I'm assuming they probably will. I don't know.
Who heads that up if you don't mind? Who heads the night in Bethlehem? Who's the person?
Bernie Fountain and his wife, and then they sub it out to different ones. Rosa gets the people to go in and eat. Like she got me, blacksmith, and somebody else to go and this one over here and over there and over there.
Jan's the tax collector.
Jan tax.
He's always been a tax
there
collector.
like that right there.
Yep. That's a good guy.
Yeah.
I like
He
him.
never been mad with
I
why.
don't think I've ever seen him mad. He works with Kurt.
Yeah.
I love going over there because Kurt will start talking a little bit of junk. Jan's like, well, whatever.
I said, Kurt, has Jan ever been mad? He said, ask him. He said, if he has, it's very seldom, but ask him about that time we were working on a Honda, trying to put the limit in on the left-hand side of the Honda car. They said, I thought he was gonna lose it, but he didn't.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know, we probably need to transition, but like, have you noticed we're losing a lot of our elders?
Yes, and I've been thinking about that. I think about it, in the past 2 or 3 weeks, that used to, we had the people that, you know, we looked up to older than us, like Jim, John
Neil
Watkins, huh?
Deal horn.
Neil Horn, Hosey Horn. I would go to him and ask him something about World War II, you know. And, I said, them people's gone. And there ain't nobody to ask no more. John is
Got those numbers.
he's about the oldest one in our neighborhood. I mean, J.L. Andrews and Belton's gone.
All at the same time.
All at the same
Steely,
time.
Belton, Olita,
Yeah.
Belton was that was a
all
tough one.
within a year and a half or 2 years. Yeah.
Don't forget about Frank Swenson.
And Frank,
Oh, man.
was he been gone right good
Yeah.
while?
He was one of the ones I remember when I was a young and
I tell you who's still holding strong though, JD Future.
JD,
JD is
yeah,
still
he's-
running strong, buddy.
he's gonna be on this at some point.
But, getting back to that, you know, it's getting to the point that this age group right here
Yeah,
is the oldest people.
yeah, yeah.
John Martin's older than, you know, a couple of years older than me. My sister's a little bit older than me. Danny Brown's a year older than me, but we're all right there about the same age, you know, and we're the older ones now.
Well, when you think about like the people of the faith, because we had some, we still got them, but like them older people, it just hit different when they would tell you about church, or when they would tell you about the Lord. It's because they went through all this stuff that we're talking about. They went through a time like that.
Yeah.
They had to have faith.
Yeah.
They had to have it. If they didn't have faith, they ended up being alcoholic, one or the other.
Yeah.
So,
Well, some of them went through that spell too.
yeah. I got to notice when I got into the ministry, you know, I had a lot of people that I was going to depend on, and when I ended up getting into the ministry, they were all pretty much gone.
Yeah.
Miss Louise Woods is
Yeah.
one that I want to talk about because man, she still goes strong. And
She's doing as much as she can.
yeah, and I did a funeral this week for Sammy Salter.
Yeah.
And one of the things on the list was she was the queen of tobacco looking. And I said that in the funeral. I said, now she was the queen of tobacco looking. I said, and there's a bunch of young people here right now that don't even know what that means. I said, but you can go on YouTube and you can see what they do, what they
Wanna
do.
look back on YouTube? I ain't never done
Yeah,
that.
they got. I said you can go on YouTube and watch them women, and it was usually women was always good at looking tobacco
Mhm.
from everything I've ever heard. And
By,
seen.
by the time I got there, though, they had that built machine there with that looper going that like that on that thing.
But I'm gonna tell you what, a little community like this, you start losing people like what we're saying, it hurts.
Yeah, Troy over there, he's a couple of years older than me.
I told a man at farm one time, I said, I could care less about farming. And it made him mad. They didn't realize I grew up on the farm and I just got tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't nothing wrong with not wanting.
But you know that man real good, Stan.
Make a profession out of it. I mean, everybody.
I like firefighting, but I ended up not doing it for a living. I mean,
I know him good.
Huh?
I know him good.
Yep.
Well,
He's in a nursing home right now.
we got one person we want to talk about, then we would like to get in the Bible a little bit. Would that be all right?
All
with
right, help you with
y'all?
that.
All right. So, Harvey Mobley.
Yeah.
It was brought to my attention today that Harvey Mobley messed with you with the banjo a little bit.
Yeah. I used to go up to his house right there on South Brown Road. Him and Milton, Wilson,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
the Simpsons.
The guy on 258 played with
He
him.
played on some of the Simpson crowd.
He got his head cut off on the face of the air conditioner.
Clement.
Clement,
Yeah. Yeah. That was, yeah. That was before I got to going up there to his house.
Those, I want you to look at this picture right here.
I wanted to play the banjo and I got me one and Harvey, he showed me the three-finger roll, and he said, I've never seen anybody keep three-finger roll up as fast. And then I went to Earl for a couple of lessons.
Yeah.
And dropped out of that, but I still messed with it a little bit. And I finally got where I could almost play Cripple Creek at the speed that you could, know what I was playing, and I don't know, I just dropped it.
Shay didn't ever realize who his first wife was.
Who's?
Harvey,
Who?
Martha, and
You should drive your school bus.
Really?
yeah,
Martha Villanova.
yeah.
Tell me if you remember that group right
I
there.
do, that's the Spring Valley Boys.
Kind of turned it sideways.
They were called the Spring Valley Boys. Fix it.
Let me hold
Now-
it. It's not going to do it like you want it to.
Now,
It's not
Harvey,
going to hold it in an angle right here.
Harvey's son Daryl, his son played.
Do you remember all these
now.
guys right here, Foos?
Let me see, that's
We're going to put this picture on the video so everybody else can see it.
That's-
Starting from the
that's
left to
Elwood.
right.
That's Elwood right there.
From
That's
on the
Vicky Brown's daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Weren't that a police officer?
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
That's Milton right there.
In the middle.
Yeah.
Middle.
That's LJ, ain't it?
Yep. That's what I
That's
heard.
Harvey.
Batchman. LJ Batchman.
Yeah, they sang.
And that's Milton there, Milton Wilson.
right there.
The LJ Batchelor had one of the highest. He could sing like Bill Monroe.
He
Huh.
just get on up there. And I don't know who that is unless it's Clement.
I heard that was a police officer. I'm not sure. Now, we're going to probably put this picture up there so everybody else can see it.
Someone out there might be able to tell
Vicky
you.
can tell you. who
The
it is.
second from the right is the guy that I'm kind of trying to figure out. Everybody else I kind of knew, but I've heard that guy was a police officer. Could be wrong. But so you were kind of this is the guy you're talking about that's holding the banjo right there that helped you a little
Yeah.
bit. So you would have remembered these jam sessions with some of these guys.
Oh, I remember. I used to go to Springfield when they were practicing down there.
Yeah.
But when I got to messing with the band, it was way past all that. Right
Yeah.
There's some tapes that exist out there with Harvey playing banjo with Norwood Rochelle and that crowd down there.
Jack A. Man.
Yes.
John, some people don't know Mr. Harvey or haven't heard of him. Can you explain the story about him with Bill Monroe?
I think that the story is
Now, Bill Monroe was big.
I know.
Bill Monroe's father of bluegrass music. And Harvey took a trip to Nashville to go to Bill Monroe's homestead. He had a homestead there, and he went up to the door and knocked on it and introduced himself to Bill. He said he wanted to play for him, and Harvey commenced playing for him, and Bill told him that he wanted him. And from what I was told is that he already had a banjo picker, but he said to Harvey that he wanted him. And Harvey said, no, that's fine. He just wanted to know that he could get up there and play for Bill Monroe. He turned around,
Came back to the swamp.
came back home.
That's what he told me.
It went different for me. I went and played, and I did it for a few years. But I mean, that was pretty cool, right there. But Harvey was the best. Harvey was the best banjo picker around here. But
Now, Bill Monroe, when you said he was the father of bluegrass, would he be like Earl Scruggs?
well, without Bill Monroe, there probably wouldn't be an Earl Scruggs. So around 1946.
So we had a guy from this community that went and talked to probably the best in the business.
And that was probably in the 60s whenever Harvey went.
Early 60s, probably.
Yeah. But what that story was when Monroe started Bluegrass Boys in '39, they had an accordion player, they had a banjo player who was called String Bean. He used to be on Hee Haw,
Yeah,
but back
yeah.
then he played clawhammer for Bill Monroe.
Now, clawhammer was the first style.
Well, I mean, that was the main style played back then. But around 46, Earl Scruggs came aboard and Lester Flatt was there with him. And that became what's known to everybody
And it is the rest of the
was
story.
bluegrass music was born in 46.
That's the rest of the story.
And that was the rest of the story. So everybody imitates either Earl or Don Reno or people like that. But yeah, I mean, without Bill, there wouldn't be an Earl, and Earl would have told you that too. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Harvey that close. He would have.
Well, he was there. He was
Yeah,
pretty
he was
much there.
there.
All he had to do was do it. He
Yeah.
just came back home.
Yeah, and that's a tough life. I've lived it. I've done that life, and it's tough. But I mean,
Well, do you remember the stuff that he would do besides the banjo? Like, what was his career?
He farmed some, and he trucked some, and played music some. That's about all I can remember.
yeah, I don't have a recollection of Harvey. I think he was.
Yeah.
I don't know whenever he died. I
Did
can't
anybody ever
remember.
record his music and you've heard his
There,
music?
I have heard tapes that I used to play whenever I wasn't touring playing banjo. I would play. I'd go get Norwood, and we'd play down there, and we'd do some beach gigs. The rich people down there at South and North Topsail, they have little parties, and we'd go and play music. But yeah,
Yeah, I wanted to talk about him because I knew you would know, and then I heard that he helped you play a little bit. I thought that was really
Yeah.
interesting.
but Norwood had tapes. That's where I was going with that. Norwood had tapes. Whenever Norwood died, I don't know where all that stuff went. But
I thought y'all combined together a little bit.
We did.
I thought
We picked corn together.
Well, guys, look, we won't get into the Bible, and I got two there. If one of y'all want to grab this one, I got the ribbon in the scripture where I was going to be at.
You have to find it, 'cause I can't.
There it is, right
see.
there. I got you right here.
Can you see, Charles? I can't see nothing.
I can't see nothing.
Well,
Eyes
It-
watered up all the time.
it'll be a story that I know you've heard
All
before.
right.
And
Where are you at?
I'm in John chapter 11, and the reason that I'm picking this scripture is because I've spoke about it twice this week already in a funeral, and we just lost Philip Williams, you know, and our hearts and prayers go to that family. But I won't talk about when Lazarus died. You remember this story when Lazarus died, and I kind of want to bring it to life. A verse that gets passed by all the time. When people start talking about Lazarus, they talk about the resurrection, the Lord brought him back. But I kind of want to talk about it, and I'm probably going to be preaching this weekend on it too. The before that. All right, so in chapter 11, verse 5, this is John, the apostle, and this is his recollection, just like what we just got done telling our stories. This is what John remembers, and he starts it off in verse 5. He says, "Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister, and he loved Lazarus." That's in chapter 11, verse 5.
Hold on a minute.
So there's 11, so it'll be over
Okay,
here
I'm on the
somewhere.
wrong page. I'm on 10. Okay, now go ahead.
All right, so in verse 5 it says, "Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus." And that verse right there, just to me, if I'm writing this story, I probably wouldn't have put that. But John, I think he's wanting to hammer it home that there's something about to happen in this story. And I want you to remember that Jesus loved these people. Now, you've heard a lot about Mary and Martha. And there's other stories that talk about Mary and Martha, about how much Jesus loved them. And it's really cool to me how John he's wanting to remind us before the story even starts, because we have the privilege of knowing how the story ends. These people didn't. And he's saying, look, Jesus loved him. And I think that verse, and I want you to talk to me about this, Stanley. I think
You don't want me to talk about the Bible, do you?
I think what's going on is I think the Lord's trying to show us that we're going to deal with death. I think that's what John was wanting to get through. That even the people that Jesus loves, at some point, they're going to have to deal with death. Would you agree? Would you see that right there?
I would agree with that.
And I think that we think sometimes coming up, ages 1 through 30, we think that time is dragging. But once you start getting across that peak,
Driver's license.
yeah,
You get your driver's license, time gone, man.
yeah, it starts speeding up
Yeah.
and in a hurry.
In a hurry.
I mean, it just seems like, now that story we just talked about with me selling drinks, it seemed like yesterday.
Yeah.
It seemed like yesterday that I was looking at Daddy in the principal's office. And like a snap of the finger, I've got a family now.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you blink again, I might be in y'all's shoes.
That's right. Won't be long.
But I think Jesus is, it's showing that he loves them, and they use the there's 3 different loves that gets used in the Bible, and this is the most powerful love, is the agape love. And it's showing that. But then we get in this verse right here that Martha, you go to verse 20, you might have to flip the page. Verse 20 it says, you know, everybody knows the story. Jesus was 4 days. They thought he was 4 days late.
But he was still on time.
He was on time. But, you know, these people didn't know that. Martha and Mary, they didn't know that. But then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him. But Mary sat still in the house. So it kind of makes you think that there's doubt in Mary. You know, they're probably sitting there bashing Jesus. I mean, if you think about it, why didn't he come? He's supposed to love us, and Lazarus was...
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
They were probably...
I'm sure they did. I probably would have done the same thing. How come you didn't come on?
Yeah. You don't know the rest of the story.
Before he died.
Yeah. Yeah. And it don't tell you how much he suffered, but they said it was a bad sickness, you know, at the beginning, that there was suffering there. And it just, to me, if you're looking at these verses, it explains humanity. We sometimes can't look past our nose to see what God's got going on for us. And it shows a picture of Martha meeting Jesus in the road. And Martha is, she looks at him. It says in verse 21, Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it to thee. And it kind of like brings to my mind that she's saying, look, I know if you would have been here, Lazarus would have been alive right now. But Jesus says in verse 23, thy brother shall rise again. And like, she takes this a whole nother route. I think Jesus is telling her, I'm going to raise him up again. But she goes to another route and she says, well, I know he's going to raise up in the last days, in the days of resurrection. And so she's already doubting the Lord. Stanley, like, how many times have we ever doubted the Lord in our situations? And
Every day.
every day. Mm-hmm. So these girls get a bad name, and that's what I was wanting to bring to life. These girls get a bad name. They're just doing everything that we do all the time. Mm-hmm. And I like it in verse 25, and this is where I was at in the funeral. Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. Now, Jesus puts death on one side and life on the other, and he puts a 3-letter word in the middle of that yet. It don't make no sense to some people. There's death, but Jesus says, though he be dead yet, he's going to live. And I look at these Christians that we're talking about, these older people that went on to be with the Lord, and in a snap of the finger, they're learning what life is all about. And it kind of hurts sometimes it kind of hurts me sometimes to say, I wish I had him back, because I don't really want him to come back if I had that power, which I don't. But what they're looking at in heaven, you know, what do you think, Thoops?
Supposed to be never even entered into the hearts of man. What they can see.
Yeah.
What it would be like.
I think it's really neat that you brought up Lazarus, because last time we saw Philip was at New Year's. Y'all were sick, but we got to hold hands and bring New Year in. Us, Philip, his wife, all of us. And I don't know why, but in my prayer, we all went around and prayed in the circle. And whenever I prayed, I mentioned Lazarus. And it's just coming back full circle now. And I was saying, me and my crowd went through a tough time this past year. And I had said, when all seemed lost, just like when Lazarus had died and it seemed lost, here came Jesus down the road right on time.
Yeah.
He did what he did. And it means a lot that you're talking about this. And I got to say something about this very thing with Philip around one time. And that's pretty cool.
And I like what else he says, and we can end it on this. I like what he says. Though he be dead yet, he puts a 3-letter word there. And some of the newer versions said, though he be dead, he's still alive. But I like how the King James Version says, yet he shall live. We know that Lazarus comes back, but he's going to have to die again. I don't think Jesus is talking about that at this point. I don't think he's talking about, I'm going to bring him back to life, because this ain't really living in the eyes of Jesus. We're not going to know what life is until we get to heaven. But he says this in verse 26, And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. And he ends up with a question, believest thou this?
Do you believe it?
Yeah. I like how he shows if you believe in Jesus Christ, I think some people think we work our way to heaven, those. I think
Don't happen.
it don't happen. I don't think you can do enough work to work your way to heaven.
Having good works counts, but it won't get you into heaven.
No. I don't believe there's going to be any good works until you believest thou this.
Yeah.
Until you have that change in heart, that the Lord does. Stanley, you got anything to add to this?
No, sir. You covered it well.
Well, we know the rest of the story. Jesus goes and he groans, and one of the shortest verses in the Bible says that Jesus wept.
Yeah.
And just wondering why Jesus, the Son of God, is here weeping. You can rack your brain about that all day long, but you got anything else, John?
Right. Like I said, I'm thankful that you brought up Lazarus.
Yeah.
For this podcast and knowing what has happened this week and everything, it's fitting.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Look, thinking about a Floyd Jones or a Belton or
Yeah, I forgot Floyd. Yeah. Gone.
you think about that last breath that they took. I remember when Grandma Betty passed away, and that crushed my pawpaw. But at the funeral, he said, "I'll see you later."
Yeah.
And we've all lost people that we love, but if they got it locked in their heart that they believe in the Lord, man, we're gonna see him again.
All right.
Daddy, you got anything?
No, I ain't got much to say.
Foos, you got anything?
I'm good to go.
John Mark?
I didn't think you called him John Moore.
We call him Big Red.
I
That's
made
my-
Jimmy call him Big Red last week.
That's my music name. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and end this up. Stanley, would you mind praying for us?
Yes. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the time that we've shared together tonight. Thank you for all your many blessings, Lord, that you've given to us. We realize that all good things come from you. Father, we thank you for allowing us to be here, for each home that's represented. We ask that as we prepare to go our separate ways, that you watch over us and keep us safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.